record this so that people can tune in from other parts of the world. Some people can't tune in at this time zone wise. So again, sending you lots of love, ladies. And I want to really dive in to what's going to unlock your limitless abundance, your limitless health, your limitless, business, love, everything in our life. It all stems to the same keys. And if we work on that in a space like I have in business and money, and it's the same process that I'm acclimatizing to all parts of my life to create that sense of abundance, overflow, for me to actually have a dream, to see a vision that I want, and then physically create it in the reality. It's the same sort of processes required. And so I'm going to go through into the key 3 elements for that and deep dive into giving you some examples of that as well, so that you know how to activate that in yourself. And as I said, I'm going to then open it up to your questions and some group coaching as well. So the first thing I really want to talk about is I want to talk about the importance of you tapping into your own genius. This is the first piece, because you all have a unique, true purpose and nature in this place, and you all have a unique genius. I don't know if you understood this, and you probably have if you've been in the coaching space at any point, in personal development at any point, that there is 1 in 17 trillion chances that you are born, that you as a human being are here on this planet. There is 1 in 17 trillion. We can't actually grasp how huge that is and how great that is. But for the chances of like all the things that had to line up, from your ancestry to your parents meeting, to them liking each other enough to, be together, for them, then that egg and that, I don't explain the whole biology of it all, but the likelihood of that is 1 in 17 trillion chances. You are a miracle of life. And it's said that the chances of that is like you put a turtle out in the ocean somewhere, and then I put a little lifesaver out in the ocean somewhere, those little round rings, and I drop it off somewhere else, and that turtle pops up, into that lifesaver. That is the likelihood of the whole of the oceans, that you were born. So you have this super conscious nature. You have this highest self, this genius self within you. And, we even know that we're made of stardust. Like, I don't have to go into the whole quantum physics of it all. Also, we are just a miracle of life and an incredible creation. And it's very vital and important for you to really anchor into that identity and know the truth is, how powerful and limitless you are, the true nature that you have. Because what I find happens, and along my journey in business, I'm going to use this example, but this is the same in love and health and any problem or thing that we're trying to overcome and any vision that we're trying to create, the same patterns can occur. We can forget the power of who we truly are. Because when we're born and you look at a baby, like, and even in the pregnancy process, the birthing process, like they're just incredible divine being. We just have so much love and we just know how worthy they are. If you like lined up a bunch of babies, you don't go, oh, that one's more worthy than that one. Like they're all of equal worth. They're all very powerful, and we can sense that. And they have such an abundance and joy radiating from them. And then over time, we lose that. We forget that. We have experiences. We get some level of some abandonment. And I don't have to describe a lot of this because a lot of you know all this, but there's something that happens in our life and we forget our true identity. We forget who we really are, and we get disconnected from that sense of that power, that abundance, that confidence, that certainty, that courage. We separate, from that. And we form an identity that is actually not ours and not really true. We just start to make all these beliefs about us, like we're not enough, can't be trusted, we can't trust others, we're not safe, whatever it is we start to believe. But it is vital for us to know who we are, to tap into that genius as the first step. When I started out my business, and again, as I said, this is the same for anything you want to go for in life, because you don't know, I didn't think I knew what to do. I would go into coaches, hire these coaches, rely on them and their genius and think they've got what I want. So I'm going to go and copy them, and then I will get what I want too if I go and become a copy of that person. Why is this not work? Because if you think about on the level of creativity, who gets paid millions and billions and whatever dollars? It's the one Steve Jobs in the world. It's the one, person who created Apple. It's the one person who's like Beyonce. The copies of Beyonce and the people mimicking her and trying to be like her aren't getting the abundance and the life that Beyonce is, because they're not Beyonce. If they stepped into their true self, they stepped into their own genius, they could probably create that also. But if they're trying to mimic and copy and just be a mimicker of them their whole life, they're not going to create that abundance. They're trying to be a copy, which is never as valuable as you being in your own right. So when we go and we get a coach, which I did at the beginning, and get a strategy coach, for instance, trying to work out how to do it. And look, there's nothing wrong with strategy. And I'm not saying that all of this is bad. However, when we do it to the degree that we copy them, when we push down our own genius, we push down our own intuition, we start disconnecting from our own power, listening to what they're saying, and we get led off the garden path and we don't create abundance. We are stopping abundance and blocking it because we're just putting a cloak on our own light and trying to copy, put this mask on that looks like them. So it's hiding who we truly are. And it's blocking our abundance. I did this a few times in my business. The first time was my first 6 months of business. I hired this like strategy coach because I had no idea what I was doing. And I was making a little bit of money when I had no idea what I was doing. But when I started working with her, I was basically making barely any. And I did what she told me to do. I went into health coaching, even though I was very passionate about resilience, self-worth. I'd just been through a massive breakup with my husband, very, traumatic, very instantly. When my son I was 6 months pregnant, and I had to be resilient and work through all of that. That was my path. That was my genius. That was what I was amazing at. But she told me I had nothing resilience wasn't going to be bought. No one's going to buy anything about self-worth. No one cares about that. They just care about weight loss or some tangible thing. So she said, you got to go do this. My intuition, my genius said, no, this is valuable. Your journey is valuable, Miranda. Your story and your medicine and your message is valuable. Go this way. That's what my intuition, my genius was saying. But she told me, no, it won't make money. So I copied her. I did what she said. And it stunted my business growth. It stopped it. It blocked abundance. I was drudging and hustling and working my ass off and nothing was happening because I wasn't following my truth. I wasn't following my genius. I was following what someone else told me to do. And it was putting a cloak over me and blocking everything up. Soon, I kid you not, as I went back onto my path and I went back to the self-worth, I went back to resilience, even though everyone said as a strategy, that's not a good idea, my business blew up. Even though I was a general coach and people said that wasn't to follow. Another time later on as well, I was working with another strategy coach because it took me a little while to figure this pattern out. And they said, like, no one cares about energy work. No one cares about the superconscious, like all that stuff. No one cares about that. Go do strategy, teach people all this because that's what they'll buy. And then you can insert that in later, but don't talk a lot about it. No one will buy that. From a strategy point of view, that's what they say. 4 months went past, $0 in my business. The worst time it had ever happened. 0. I worked through some of that. I realized, no, my genius is the superconscious. I love this energy work. My whole life has been leading me to this place. This energy work has changed my life. The strategy work is okay, but that's 10% of my whole picture. 90% of my life has been changed by manifesting, magic, superconscious, energy. This is what lights me up. You can tell when I'm talking about it. This is what gets me excited. I'm getting hot talking about it. I love it. Alchemy, best thing in my ever life, best thing I've ever met, thing I've loved. This thing has transformed everything. So I went on to doing that and I would stuff it. Okay, I might not make money, but this is what I care about. This is what I love. What happened? That very month, I changed that and I made that decision. When I listened to my genius and I didn't listen to them, I made $20,000 and I never went back ever again. Do you understand that your genius matters? And you need to get a coach or get whatever it will help you stay on your path to uncovering your superconscious, your genius. That is what is of value. Not someone to just tell you what to do and copy, copy, copy. That's not of value compared. Again, there is some structure, there is some strategy, that stuff's helpful. But again, it's like the 10% of the 90%. You being in alignment, you following your truth, you uncovering your genius and getting led by that is so, so vital and key. Cool. Have we got that, ladies? Yeah. We all have it. We all have a genius. And you may look up to someone and think they're splendid. Like, yeah, genuinely being yourself. That's what people are drawn to, the truth of us, right? And you may look up to someone and think, wow, they're huge and amazing. And that's great to have these models and these inspiration, but you got to do it in your way, and be your true light. That is what people flock to. They magnetize to truth, and you being your true essence. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second point that I really want to say is to what has led me to this place of creating, over 500,000, 600K, in my business over this last year, when I'm working literally 10-hour weeks. My son hasn't been in school his whole life. He's just had 3.5 days at kinder or whatever the last few years. So yeah, I've had capacity for 10 hours, 15 hours max. And that's my choice. That's what I wanted to do. But to create that amount of wealth and abundance in that space is phenomenal. How? Second point, how? Second key to unlock that abundance. And again, it's not just even the money, it's you're unlocking your evolution, unlocking your sense of purpose, unlocking your sense of satisfaction in your life, your fulfillment, the level of health. I've never had, all of those things aligning in my life like ever before because of this path. And second part of this is, I would say, is you really need to acknowledge and face your unconscious and your shadow. This isn't the pretty part. The other part's all exciting and motivating and inspiring. This part's not so pretty. This part can be messy. However, this part is really vital if you want to unleash your limitless power, if you want to go and move beyond and create a new future. You need to look back and realize the triggers and realize why you're doing what you're doing, why these patterns keep coming up. Not even necessarily the why, but what is at the core of this and how to unleash that. You need to be willing to face the deeper stuff and the darker stuff. And a lot of the time, when I've looked into the manifesting work in my own journey, and also the many coaches I've had who've, worked with coaches who are making 30 million US a year and all these crazy things through magic as well, not just through strategy and spending lots on these things. A lot of them talk about the reason why people can't actually create these visions and they're holding themselves back is because they're not willing to hold themselves in the flip side and in their fears, and they're not willing to go down before they go up. They're not willing to go back before they go forward. If you think about jumping over a chasm, jumping across to this other side, say, here's where you're at, and here's this big chasm, and then here's where you are on the other side that you want to be. This is where your business you want to be. This is the abundance you want to have. This is all these pieces. You don't just jump from there to there. You got to run back and jump forward. You got to take some steps back. You need to regress to go progressing. You think of a bow and arrow, it doesn't just go forward straight away. You got to go into the resistance to let the pressure go for it to pounce forward. A launching pad needs to go down before it pounces up. And a lot of the time, we ask for what we want. We say, God, universe, superconscious, whatever, just you speak your intention out in the world. Like I did, I want to create this 100K month. I want to launch this incredible mastermind that I got a download of. I tapped into my genius. I got this download of this mastermind, this alchemy work that I do within 10 minutes, after I woke up. And it was exactly, this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to share with people about it. And it's going to have this many women in it. And you're going to have 100K from the launch and blah, blah, blah. It was telling me everything. A lot of people can do that bit. They can tap into their desires. They can see, okay, I've got a genius. I want to go for these things. Yeah, I get that. But then what happens? If you're in full alignment with that and you're in exactly a match and you can just hold that and the universe just knows, yep, cool, you've got that. It's just going to let you, it's not even a jump. You just do a skip over and you're like, yep, skip, boom, I'm there. Frolic, yeah. Sometimes that can happen. Sometimes we see people and they just get something really easily as soon as they've asked for it, as soon as they've set the intention, want it. Sometimes that can happen because it's alignment. However, majority of the time, we're not in alignment. There are things that are not a match in us that we can't actually hold it. So the universe sends us little tests along the way to see, can you hold this? Because if you can't hold this, you can't hold that. I don't let my son drive my Range Rover. Why? I will maybe eventually, I'd love to buy him his own awesome car when he's 18 and he's gone through the tests and they're showing me that he can drive on the road. But at 5, 6, I'm not going to let him just go do that. I'm going to let him get on a little skateboard. I'm going to let him learn how to ride a bike. I'm going to learn, not even that. I'm not going to let him do that straight away. I'm going to let him learn how to ride a 3-wheeler thing. I'm going to progress it. Because it's not loving if I just to throw him into the deep end and let him go and figure out how to drive a car at 6. So if you're asking, like I was, for this mastermind, this great, awesome thing that you want to launch or create, or this business, this massive amount of clients, like this success, this fame, like whatever it is that you're asking for, the universe looks and goes, okay, hang on. I can see a couple of these things here that you can't have if you're going to hold this. This and this can't be together. So I'm going to test you on this, see how you go with this. If you can move through that and work through it and hold it, cool. Yeah, let's go. Sorry, we're having a puppy issue. We've got a puppy and Harry's just telling me something about her. Go to bed, bub. So it's going to test you, right? When I wanted this mastermind and I wanted to create this 100K month, awesome, beautiful, received, like that's what I want to do. However, there were things in the way, like I didn't feel I had the self-worth to create. I wasn't worthy of having $100,000 month. I didn't feel worthy of holding that many women and influencing them and being a leader. So as soon as I set that intention, as soon as I asked for that desire, that next day I got triggered by this man, not even a business thing, it was as a man, triggering me into like, you don't feel worthy. You don't even feel worthy to have this person. That wasn't the universe and this man or anything's fault, just trying to like make me feel bad. Or it was just going, Miranda, you don't feel worthy. And until you feel worthy of this, I can't give it to you, because the whole time you're going to not feel worthy and you're going to like push it away and you're going to screw it up and you're going to let it go. And that's going to hurt you even more. So let's work on this worth piece. So that whole 5-6 weeks, I kid you not, I didn't follow some set strategy and like do all this training and message these people and email this. I worked on my worth. I worked on my emotional thing. I worked on that shadow that kept coming up. I emotionally let that emotion come out. I moved through it. I released it. I faced off with it. And even last night, I'm about to have this really big growth phase in my business. I'm just about to hire a new coach who's like a crazy level coach. I'm having her one-on-one and I'm investing a whole house deposit into her. And I'm heading to the million this year. There's massive growth going on. And with that, I've had a big descent. And I just last night had to move through emotions that were popping up around worth, all these other pieces. And that's a part of the game. That's a part of the journey. That's a part of the transformation, is to be able to sink into that. Because if I can sink into that and let that come, I can then hold the high and the greatness of it also, because I can hold the flip side. I can hold both. Does this land? Does this make sense, ladies? Good question. How do I work through those emotions? This is actually a really big part of the journey. And it's actually quite, not complex, but I'd say I hold a high level of responsibility with talking to women about this, because it's not something that's just like, just do this hack and bang, I've done 6 years, 7 years of psychology training. And like, there's been 5-6 years of me investing in high level coaches of this emotional work to understand this part. So I'm not going to be able to go into the depth of like exactly how I do it, because there's a lot more than one little 2-minute conversation about it. But I will tell you, one thing that's really vital is to set the intention that I am going to work through this. And I'm going to really get to the core of like what's at the heart of this. Because for me, for instance, from last night, what I moved through, I've had a fair bit bubbling up because of this big growth spurt I'm about to have. And I hadn't really got to the core. I dealt with it, I'd done a little bit, but I hadn't really got to the core. Why? Because I hadn't set the intention, right, this is it. I'm dealing with this right now. And every time I've done a big breakthrough emotionally, one key thing is to set the intention, like we're getting to the heart of this right now. Like when you have an issue with a partner and it's bubbling and buzzing, and then you're like, no, let's deal with this right now. Let's work through this together. That would be one thing. The second thing I would say is just to really allow, without the judgment, the pain to a surface. Like with my son, if I'm going to hold space for him and I'm going to love on him, when he's got these big emotions, I just sit there and let him let it out. I don't sit there and judge, like, stop it, don't, you know, I let him feel and I hold space for him to do it. And I don't interrupt and say, don't cry and you feel good. I just let him be, let him feel. Even though I know it's not true, even though I know he might be over, tired, that's why it's happening, I still let it happen till he feels complete. So a big thing is like, let it out, let it out. Stop trying to placate it. Stop trying to say, stop it. Stop trying to straight away come in and tell yourself the truth and that it's okay. Like, let it out, let it be. A lot of the time feeling just wants to be expressed. The last piece I'll say, and again, this is a massive conversation, so I'm just giving you some bits, but there's a lot more to this, is start to see the truth at the end. Once you feel more complete, once more's moved and you've been witnessed and seen, let yourself go back to your genius, your superconscious, your highest part of you, that mother part of you, to the inner child, and see what's the real truth here. See from that highest place. Because the issue is sometimes in the embodiment world and the shadowed work that I've seen, and is people can get stuck just unearthing and just drilling up, getting it all, and it's just getting drudged up and left there. It's like, plumbing, it's plumber coming in and just dredging it all up and then just leaving the pile on the top, and it all goes back in again and thinking, oh, why am I continuing to stay stuck? So that's my short version, but there is a lot to it. But yeah, if there's more questions about it later, I could maybe speak to, but as I said, this is a very big thing. So if I'm going to have a strategy, and if I'm going to say to you, why did I make 100K in a month? Why do I make a 200K in a month? Why do I have these crazy launches when I'm not working many hours and not doing the typical strategy? Some of it I do, but not a lot of it, because that is my commitment. My devotion is to my inner world. We are mirroring and reflecting. Our outer world is just a reflection and a mirror of what's going on inside. And so if I'm working on my inner world and I'm getting that to this alignment place of what I want, and I'm wanting abundance, and I'm feeling abundance deep within, and I'm working through those pieces, it's so much easier when I take that action, bang, it flows and it happens so much easier and quicker. So the one action I take is so much more potent and powerful than me sitting there doing thousands of actions like I used to. That's why knowing your genius and knowing the unconscious and doing that inner work is so vital. And it's probably 80% of the work a lot of the time. I'm trying to look at these little comments as we go. Yeah, awesome. So I do want to say one last piece as well that's really key before you dive into asking me questions and getting some coaching. Smiling all over, I need to hear this today. Oh, that's awesome, Del. How good. Yeah, it's I've been in this space for quite a long time and done lots of different type of work. I've worked with the strategy coaches, I've worked with, the action, courage people. I've worked with embodiment, deep shadow, emotional people, and the trauma. And I've worked with nervous system and somatic work, and then the superconscious and higher self and meditations. And, I've done lots of different things over the time. I don't know if you can relate, but there is a real sweet spot of the marriage of them all, where that's where magic happens. That's where the manifesting happens. And if we sway too much to one of the sides, we get sort of too strung up in one, and there's sort of a downside to it all. If we're too much in the higher self and we're not acknowledging the depth and darkness, it's like Superman or Wonder Woman trying to fly up in the sky, but being chained to the earth. You can't go far because you're not releasing. However, if we're always in the deep, dark dungeons, we're in hell, in the pits, and we're not ever seeing ourselves from any other place, then we're not creating as well. And the last piece is you need to take courageous action. You need to take courageous, bold ass action. towards your dreams and desires. And I've, said a few things about the strategy thing, whatever. And there's an element to it as, again, there's a high value in strategy. There's a high value in knowing your steps ahead. There's a high value in taking bold action. But if that's all we do and we don't do the inner part, it will take you 1,000 steps to get one good one landed. Whereas if you do the alignment first, then you take the one step that's bold, that it really lands. Like the bow and arrow analogy, if you're just shooting off everywhere and not doing any of the alignment and pulling back and you're just like doing whatever, it's just going to go. And you might get one. If you do thousands of shots, you may get one, maybe. But if you just actually took some time to align, focus, get back into your stuff, allow it to be, and then release, bang, you hit your one target, one shot. So the bold, courageous action is really vital. When I was in the first 6 months of my business, my ex and I had just broken up. I'd known him for 10 years, loved him for 10 years. We just broke up. Had my son who was 6 weeks old. And I was, didn't have money, didn't really have a business, all of these pieces, right? I made $30,000 in the first 6 months when I was even, again, working not a heap of time at that point. And I had no idea what I was doing. Literally all I did was bold, courageous action. All I did was reach out to people, take some things, ask people things, like just go and take bold, courageous action. Now, I was working 50 hours or so, 40 hours maybe a week with a newborn, which is crazy. Every time he naps, I just worked all the time. But it still progressed me, right? So there's still some value. However, when I went into this energy work, the superconscious work, and I actually started to do this deeper work I've told you about, and then I get a hit, message this person, they I think they're meant to be in your mastermind, or do this live right now. This is, where it's meant to be. Bang, someone comes on from that. Bang, someone comes on from that. Doing this masterclass on this topic, or, really share this truth. Bang, someone comes to me from that. This bold, courageous action. As I said, I'm about to invest in this really high level mentor. I wasn't going to do that. And there's a part of me that didn't want to do that because it's safer to just stay with the ones I've had, and it's safer to just keep on the little track I'm going. And this is a really bold, courageous move, because I know when I'm investing this level and I'm going to work with this mentor, like I'm going to have to step up even more. And I egoically, unconsciously don't want to do it. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of things. However, my superconscious told me to do it. So I'm going to take bold, courageous action and do it. A lot of the reason why, women aren't breaking through in business or other things in life is because they might be doing the meditation, or they might do the emotional breakthrough, get a bit of confidence, and they might take one action then, and then they don't keep following it through, or they don't take that action when they're really not feeling it and they're really in their, cycle, or like this stuff's hitting the fan or whatever. And then, so they'll go and be crazy on social media, like a dieter with health, right? Let's go, first start of the year. Yeah, cool. Let's go. And go for a week. And then no one shows up, no one buys, it doesn't work out the way they want, whatever it is. And so they stop. They was just wait for 3 months, then, got willpower again. Let's go, If you just can I'll give you guys this tip. This next 6 months, you took a bold, courageous step every week. One bold, courageous step that's really aligned to, in business, it can be applied to anything. But if you go, what's the thing that's going to lead to revenue right now? What's the revenue generating action? What's the bold action I could take right now? And you go and do that. It will grow your business. They do say even up to the first million, a lot of it can be built on this bold courageousness, because a lot of the shadow work comes up as you go and take steps. You go and take these courageous actions. The triggers and the pain come up. And so then you face it and move it as you go. You don't have to feel all great, feel perfect, then take action. Take action. That will often clear a bunch of stuff. And as you're going, keep clearing and taking action, and keep clearing and taking the action. A lot of the time we wait until when I feel confident, I'm going to go do this. Often the confidence comes afterwards. The courage comes first, then the confidence comes after. So I would love you, before we tune into like, what would you love questions and coaching on? I'm going to give you a moment, because I'm going to deal with this puppy while I give you a moment to tune into what is the bold, courageous action that you're feeling led to do this week. You may not want to do it, but what is it? And I'm going to put that little one in the chat. And then I'm going to be back in a moment and we'll do some Q&A as well. You guys got any crazy ideas? Put them in the chat. I'd love to see. You know, like there are so many people I've gotten to do this with, and it's amazing how this one piece as well, I mean, as all of them, can make such a phenomenal difference. Beautiful. Reach out to the people who are interested in a group program. Yes. And this is the thing, you just got to set the date and just go for it. Just do it. It's beautiful, Dal. It's awesome. And if you do some genuine reach outs, at the end of the day, the funniest thing about this, it's not necessarily funny, but the piece about this is we're really afraid. The fear, I'm going to leave you this one. This is connected to the unconscious. This is why we often don't take these bold, courageous actions. It's because the fear, we have a fear of feeling. We're afraid to feel. That's what fear is. Fear is the fear of feeling. So we don't want to go ask these people. We don't want to set this date. We don't want to do that in case they say no. And then we're going to feel rejected. When I had that $0 coming in for 4 months, I had 20 people say no to me on the phone for me getting them on a call, doing a sales call. 20 in a row said no. However, that wasn't just nothing. That didn't just give me nothing and make no money. That was valuable insight, information. I got so much feedback from that. I learned so many things on what to tweak, what to do, what not to do. And I was all good. You had 20 people say no. It's like, if say another no, like, oh, well, like, that's cool. You become this invincible. Like, you don't care about the rejection. Just keep moving on. Next, like, someone's going to say yes, you know. So we're afraid to feel. That's why we don't move. But the quicker you face this stuff, the quicker you take that courageous action, the quicker you see it, the quicker you go, okay, that's all right. First time someone judged me on a Facebook post, the first time someone left a program, like, yeah, it's scary at the first, and then it's like, oh, that was fine. I'm good. Cool. Next, you know. So it's us not doing it and stopping, like, and just halting ourselves. That's the thing that gets in the way the most. Do a live in the closed group offer. Yeah, they asked for it. No, do it. Do it. Do it, Dal. That's awesome. Get back on live, speaking your truth. You know, Lauren, you know, even see, do you want to do one a couple a week or something for the next few weeks? As soon as you get into the momentum of that, the momentum starts to build and take you on. You know, it's that inertia, it's the stopping, the analyzing, the thinking that really holds us back. Yeah, you can't be salesy, love. You're too beautiful and just who you are. You just be honest in who you are, and that's just it. You know, the thing is, like, and I remember someone said this, like, if we had the cure to COVID back in the day when it was like such a problem and we had this solution, and it was like, wouldn't you shout through the rooftops? And like, you know, you don't care if you're salesy, like, you tell everyone, right? Because it's really vital and important. And you'd back it and know that. So can all our fears and insecurities come up, turn and face them, deal with it. Awesome. Beautiful, Dal. Signed up to attend the crystal healing. Beautiful. Work on your courage. Amazing, Dal. I reckon, like, get a really specific thing on what is it this week you're going to do to boldly do it. Even with my son, like, we did these courageous challenges with him, and like he was scared to tell someone that his dad did the same job as them. And so I was like, let's do this courageous thing, honey. And he did that. And then then he wanted to go and play the harmonica on the street. That was the next thing he wanted to do. It's like, you know, just tell someone something. And then he went, it's 5, 6. So he played it on the street, and I sat there with him, and he made $30 in 5 minutes because he's so cute. He doesn't even know how to play the thing. But that bold one step led to that, you know, and then now look how much courage he has and confidence from continuing that momentum. Yeah, awesome. Group coaching. Beautiful. So good. Yes. I love that. Go for it, doll. Well, thank you for putting in your thoughts there, ladies. I would love to, open the floor now. If you could put like any questions that you have, you'd love me to speak to, any topics, themes, like in the chat, put it in there and I will start answering them. I don't know how like many I'm going to be able to get to, and if I can get through everyone's or whatever, but just put it in and I'll get to as many as I can. And then if you have something that's really pressing and I didn't get to talk to it and answer it, like you can always send me a message as well. And I'll definitely respond. So let's get your questions in there. We've got a couple more bold actions here. Finishing a course using concrete skills to start revenue generating. Awesome. So good. Yes. Decide on the superconscious, what your genius is leading you to. Perfect. Beautiful. If someone finds it hard to type, at the moment, like they're on their phone or whatever, and they'd rather unmute and ask me a question, someone can unmute if they would like while we're waiting on some. Otherwise, got some popping in. Just looking. Claire, are you trying to unmute or are you just... No? Cool. All right, let's go with these questions here. Helen, finding your alignment, as you mentioned, took time to find yours. Is that a question, Dale? Is that your courage thing that you're wanting to do? Do you want me to speak to anything on alignment?
No, it's a question. I mean, how do you find your alignment? Because I've been so disconnected for such a long time.
Yeah.
How do you come back into that?
Yeah, beautiful question. And this is so like incredible, because the thing is, our intuition and our genius, it's our natural state, right? And when we're a kid, like, I don't know, do you remember these moments? Like, you look back in your life, like how intuitive you've been on something, or like, it's just this innate thing, right? It's our natural ability, but we unlearn it through schooling and everything. We're like, don't trust that, or don't go in creativity. And, it's like, you've got to read the book and have the answer. And so, yeah, we often can disconnect from it and not know how to tap back in, even though it's such a natural thing. So really honoring you in that. Firstly, I would say, again, like intuition is so natural, but it used to be for me very ad hoc when I was trying to find my alignment. And like, it was sort of like, sometimes I knew it and sometimes I didn't. And I didn't have any set process on how to reconnect, and then when I learned like more of this super conscious sort of way of being and work, and there was like actual like set structures and processes on what to follow and how to start creating from that space, like that really supported me. And I'll talk to you more about like, what I do with that, later on tonight. But the easiest way for me to, I guess, tell you to start getting some insight now, and really connecting now, is firstly to a really beautiful, easy sort of practice. And again, there's a lot more to it, but like just to start getting you moving is you can go and imagine that you're stepping into a circle. So just imagine like you're stepping, and in magic, like circles are really used a lot of the time, and it's a great way for us to ask for our higher self, our superconscious, to answer a question on something, to give us any insight on something. Because it's like, I want to know about this, this area, this info here, and so you step into a circle and ask about what's coming, like what's the unconscious block, why do I want to create this business, or whatever, right? And you step in and just ask that and see what comes up when you're in there and what comes up to your head. The really important thing with this as well is something that we call like innocence, and just being very open and curious, like a little child, like just like completely, you don't know the answer, you just like openly looking out in the world. Is like, what is it? I'm just going to be open. I'm not going to try and have this preconceived idea. I'm just going to be curious as to what it is. So that would be my best solution and suggestion for you on how to just begin to inquire, ask, tap in. But a lot of the time, if you just ask and set the intention that I really want to, as I said, like intentions are really powerful. Like, I really want to know about this, and I love the insight here. Or like I said yesterday, for me, like there's been few times I've done some emotional work and it was sort of getting to it, but not really to the core. And then when yesterday I was like, all right, this is it. Intention, like I'm getting to it today, you know, and we're working to this till it's done. Like anytime I've done that, like it's been really, really powerful. So that's what I would suggest for now, Dal. But
All right, thank you.
I'll mention something at the end that will help you as well. Cool?
Thank you.
Beautiful question. Thank you. Simone, I'm super interested in IKSS hours. What's that, Dal? What's your journey? What should I start to allow the shadow? Tell me what IKKS is. Is that something?
Lease hours, sorry.
Less. There we go. Yeah, I should have been able to see that.
Yeah, so it's the lease hours. Like,
yeah. Awesome.
I've been on you for a while and I'm
yeah.
like, oh,
yeah, you have done.
I'd quite like to work less hours.
Oh, I like that too. Yeah. So I think one thing on that, from a, like, I guess just more of a practical point of view, is focus is really key. And this is from a practical and a energetic point of view. Focus has two lenses. One is that I'm very clear on, so right now, and I will mention this at the end of the training, like I have a Alchemy of Abundance like event, you know, at the end of Feb, where I teach this and go much deeper into all of this. So right now, that's my focus. Like I've got my clients and then I've got that marketing wise, that's my focus. That's what I'm doing. And I don't do anything else other than my clients and that in my business, you know? And I just go, what's the most key thing that will help me get that, you know? And that's it. It's just that really key focus. And I don't let things distract me. I don't like, even though this little puppy dog's trying to distract me right now, I'm just going to pull her out to show you her. Oh, this is what I'm dealing with on my leg. She's just trying to bite me. And I think she just wants some attention with you guys. That might help her. This little puppy. I got my son going to school in a week, and then I decided to get a puppy who's just another baby. So yeah. But anyway, so that focus with just actions and just continuing, because our unconscious, when we are resistant something, like we just start creating busyness, we just start going everywhere, doing all these things, thinking that's going to create momentum, whatever. And it's a way that our unconscious often stops us from creating what we want, you know? And so like, I just cut the shit. And whenever something comes in like, oh, I've got to maybe do this, whatever, I was just like, no, like, this is what I need to do. And I'm just very clear on that. That's one thing. And I guess I've been like that the whole time because I haven't had the time, you know. I could have chosen to have more time away from Harry, but I never wanted to. I wanted to have that time with him. So I had to make it work in that time as well. This is another thing, again, on intention. It's like when we think we've got all these hours and we set this deadline that, you know, deadlines are really great to just set little key short ones, because if you set the intention, you're going to get it done in 2 hours, you get it done in 2 hours. If you set the intention that you're going to get it done, you think you got the whole day, you won't get it done to the last 5 minutes of the day, you know, like, so that's why for me, like, you know, if you just set that intention, so you're going to be working this and you're cutting it back to this. I recently used to work a little bit overnight, a little bit longer. So I'd like sort of finish up clients about 9 and then keep working till like 10. And I just kept creeping it, you know, and I was like, no, 9:30, like I'm not, and I get things done, you know, like even though I used to keep creeping it on. So that's one thing. The energetic piece is the key thing here though as well. Our focus like is either in what we want and all that we want to create and our superconscious and those desires, or it's in what we don't want. And it's energetically in like our fears, what we're afraid is going to happen, you know, all of those pieces. Interestingly, tonight, before this call, just to be super, you know, transparent, my son wasn't going to sleep really quickly. And then the puppy was being silly because of that. And I was like, oh no, trust this tonight. When I'm doing my mask, my clients sort of understand something, but I'm like, oh, trust this tonight. But I didn't work on any of it. And then look, now it's looking heavy. This puppy dog's eating my hand, like on my lap, you know? So this is a small example, but my focus was more in, oh, I don't want that to happen. That would be bad if my dog and my son get in the way of tonight. And what's happened, you know, because I didn't shift my focus. But that's a small example. Like there's obviously massive scales. But the reason why I put so much time into my shadow and my unconscious and like releasing those things is because I'm shifting my focus. If I don't go there and make that conscious, if I'm still deeply feeling unworthy, or if I don't feel like I deserve to receive love, so I don't deserve to receive clients in abundance, and if I don't deal with that and work on that, then it's all got the energy and the power. But as soon as I bring consciousness to it and I work on that there, then the power releases and I create what I want. So does that explain your question? Like, how do I create with such less time? I'm just putting more time and energy into that focus and that energetic point, so that when I do take those focused actions, I do take those, it's really an alignment. I don't have all this massive resistance in the way, blocking energetically and unconsciously all of the things.
Yeah, Miranda, what I'm really hearing is actually like, instead of avoiding the shadow side, is just actually really work on that so much more that we can,
Yeah.
And this is really.
That's the thing, like even my example, and I just am always super honest because it's always my journey that I learn from and can teach. But this last couple of weeks where these funky things have been going on for me with this big lead up to what I'm doing, I did do the work, but not deeply. And like last night was when I did it. And that's when I knew it really shifted, because I was like, this is enough's enough, I'm doing this. But if I did that, and I stopped, because I was sort of avoiding it for like, I was doing it, but not properly, so I was in a way avoiding it. And what could have happened in the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks if I just did it then, the unconscious, it takes up so much energy. And if we just then don't, have all that spare energy to go and create, we're just sitting there in our stuff. And we think, oh, I won't look at that. It's bad juju. And I'm not going to, but it's by not looking at it is giving it more energy. Cool. Good. Thanks, Dal. Great question. So what do you do if you have so much inspiration and so much inspired action to take and feel like there's not enough time to do it all? So Claire, the biggest thing that's coming up for me with that is it's actually an abundance issue of like an abundance view of time, because, abundance isn't just about money, it's on time as well. And so if we're feeling really overwhelmed, stressed, really lacking in time, all those sort of pieces, then yeah, that's what we'll create. We'll create stress, overwhelm, like lacking the time to be able to do any of the pieces that we really want to. So I think one thing I would work on, and this is, again, I know there's practicalities of like, how much time you have to work, all the things, but I would work on like that energy of giving yourself some sense of peace, and that there is an abundance of time. All the things that you really deeply need to do and are called to, there's enough of that. Something that's really helpful for that is like meditation. And even if it's a 5 or 10 minute one, there's lots of meditation apps. The Insight Timer app I really like. Those things are really key to help you create, from a more peaceful place. I know when, my ex and I broke up and I was in that real stressful place and I was working so much and I was just trying to frantically do anything to make money, I started introducing some meditation, and like, even though I still had the same amount of things on, I just started being more calm. And so then I ended up actually achieving a whole lot more as well. And similar, Claire, to what I just said about the focus on the key actions, like there aren't actually thousands of things you need to do. If you do the couple of key big things that are going to really change the game for you, that's where you got to put the energy and time into. Right now, when my son's been away, I haven't been able to post it online as much, but to me, that's not as much of a key thing than these masterclasses and things for myself. So yeah, I just choose what I can do in the space I've got. I'm going to, just noting the time, I do have some clients in 5 minutes. I just want to speak to this alchemy of abundance piece. And then you ladies, if you have asked a question and I haven't been able to answer it, can you please message me on Messenger? You should have me on Messenger. And, either on my business or my personal, and just ask me that one there, because I'd really love to answer your questions. I normally do bump over the time. It's just that I've got clients going to be waiting, so I can't today. But I just wanted to mention this alchemy of abundance, because we've gone into a few different pieces tonight around manifesting, around magic, around creating what you desire and you want. And that may have sparked some things for you, and you might feel really complete just with those pieces. But some of you may want to know, you feel like you just start to get your teeth sunk into this, and you want to know, you know, the depth of this, or you want to know how to really deeply activate it in your life. And I normally do work like for 6 months with clients, and, you know, I've got these masterminds and these things I run. However, there is a program called the Alchemy of Abundance that I've created. That's a 2-day online event. And the whole purpose of that, and as I said, it's coming up at the end of Feb, is to unlock your level of abundance, unlock your level of magic, your level of ability to create, you know, a lot in a smaller space of time, to quantum leap with crazy things, to create financial abundance in your business. But again, like health, vitality, love, like this is the same patterns for everything, because it's the inner work reflected on the outer. So I put everything I know and the main things I teach in my 6-month work down and condensed it into a 2-day event. And this is the best of the best that I can give in, you know, really condensed time. People have had crazy results from doing it in the past, and I've done it before, and this is an upgraded version of it. And the great thing about it is it's not just the 2-day event where I teach, you know, about how to tap into your own power, how to tap into the superconscious, how to go deeper into the emotion and do that clearing work, and then take courageous action so that you can boldly get what you want. We also have a 3-month sort of follow-up Q&A mastermind thing, so to help you integrate it, because there is a thing where you can be all activated and excited on the day, but then it goes to nothing, you know. So there's more levels of support, there's other peer support, I have a big focus on community as well. So that is coming up, and that's the thing that I'm, you know, inviting people to explore with me. So if you would like the info on that, and you'd like me to explore that with you, or you'd like to explore even a conversation with, you know, my team about it and things as well, start doing an intuitive, you know, check-in on that, I'd love you to put just yes in the chat. That would be beautiful and amazing. If you are interested, if you could put a yes in the chat, that would be awesome. Because I'll just send you some pieces and we'd start to explore it. The one thing with me is, you know, it's only ever if there's an alignment with what's going to be of benefit to you. And it's never a push. But, you know, I do love people who are interested to have a conversation with my team and do an intuitive thing to see, instead of just sending you to some impersonal page and, you know, you don't even really get what the vibe is. So yeah, if you have said yes, I would love it to make sure that you do have, it's the 25th and 26th of Feb at the moment, but there are ways if you can't make it exactly on those days and times, like there's things I'm doing to account for that as well. So even if that's an issue, we can work around that. Now, if you've said yes, my request to you is if you can send me a message to say I'm interested, that would be so phenomenal. Just that would be my first request. Second request would be also just make sure when you've written your name in here and you've said yes, that it is actually your name. Because sometimes it says like iPhone and I don't know who the person is. So if you can do that, but if you can message me, that would be beautiful. So I can make sure I have you, because you all come from many different places. So yeah. No, yeah. So I've got, two other coaches that do work for me, and they do an intuitive reading to see if, you know, it's right, and also give information and things like that. Beautiful. All right. Well, we have just clocked on to 8:30. I'm just trying to see if there's any other specific questions. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. If you guys could message me, that would be wonderful. Otherwise, I'll try and find out and make sure I can try and message you. But loved seeing you ladies. As I said as well, if you didn't get me to answer your question and you would like me to, please send me a message on that. And then I'm going to send the link. Thank you for reminding me. I have got the link here to that meditation that I mentioned as well. So there you go. Awesome. Thank you so much, my beautiful women. Thank you for dealing with my crazy puppy and all the things as well. Mum life to puppies. But yeah, sending you ladies lots of love. So beautiful to see you, and look forward to speaking to you again soon. Love puppies. Oh, good. See you ladies. Bye.